Especially these little folded otters are so adorable. Look at them, I love them. Hey everyone, this is Thecos, and today I'm showing you Tide Tangle by No Time Games. A huge thanks to the designer Carmes for providing me with this beautiful physical preview copy. Before I get started with showing you the game, I need to say that Carmes, the designer of the game, has done such a lovely job assembling the game for me. He included a personal note and some traditional Polish sweets. When I previewed his game Tiny Mini Golf back then, I even ate them on camera. Also, although this is a print and play game, he assembled all components so professionally, which is amazing. I absolutely love this. Thank you, Carmes. Alright, let's get started. I already set up the game. The general premise of the game is that in Tide Tangle, players embody sea otters diving for cool sea treasures. Players navigate waves to stay clear of the coast of the rocks, making strategic choices about where and how deep to dive to explore. This is my preview for the game. It will be crowdfunded on Kickstarter starting today, actually. So grab yourself a cup of tea and let's go. Alright, there we go. Alright, let me now tell you how the game is played. Before you get started, you will need to determine a starting player. And I'm suggesting the following. Each player goes to my YouTube channel and looks for a video showing off a method of determining a starting player. There are several on my channel. This video here, of course, does not count. Whoever finds such a video first is the starting player in Tide Tangle. Alright, so how does this game play? First of all, starting player, let's just say Scotter will be the starting player. Let's just put that right here so we know. Players just use their otters to dive for sea treasures, and the game ends whenever that draw pile here becomes empty. Like when new waves arrive, this draw pile will be depleted, like more and more, and when it's completely depleted, then the end game is triggered. When it's your turn, Scholar will start and just take a look at these really cool origami otters, right? And they're like both sided, right? So they will start like this actually. I put them the wrong way. They will start like this and just be swimming, and they can also go in raft mode and then be like this, which is like really cool. You get points for getting sea treasures, right? So for example, let's check this card here. We have two treasures here. Either that spiky thing and also like the little octopus here, right? Depending on which one you have, you put this in your pocket when you get it, like either at the top or at the bottom, and then it is like worth as many points here, right? But you multiply that by the rafting die you have. But I will get to all of that a little bit later. All right, so how does the turn look like? Well, when it is a player's turn, first of all, you roll the wave die. That means you just roll one die and you put it right here. So you know here waves will be moving from top to bottom, right? So this one will not be there at the end of the round, at the end of the turn anymore. Then you take up to 3 chosen actions. As you can see, there are like these amazing player aids here, where it like shows you exactly everything that you can do. You take up to 3 chosen actions. You can take each action also twice or 3 times, right? So Scholar is this fella right here, and now we can either move, dive, or raft. Here down here, when we're not on the on the water, we are actually on the rocks, right? And usually movement means that I can move 2, or in a 2 or 4 player game, 3. This is a 3 player game, so we can only move 2, and then I can just move 2, right? We cannot move diagonal, right? If I want to go there, I have to go here. But since we're on the rocks, the first movement, we can go anywhere, right? So for example, I would maybe just go maybe over here and try to get this treasure here. The next thing we can do is dive, right? It means I declare now whether I will do the deep or the shallow target, and then I will take 2 dice to roll. I will say I will take the shallow target, right? Because for that I need a value of 6 for both dice, right? That's like the depth of the treasure. Otherwise I will need 17, which is not possible with 2 dice, I hear you say, right? So how should you, with like 2 6-sided dice, get 17? Well, you get additional dice if you have treasures in your fur pocket. So if I'm going for the shallow treasure here, if I have already 2 treasures up here in the pockets for the shallow treasures, right? This is for the deep, this is for the shallow treasures. Then I can get up to 2 more dice if I want to, right? Short break because I actually saw that there is a little mistake here that I made. So if you get one of these treasures, you can put them in your pocket, either for the shallow or for the deep. for the deep treasures, and you can have two, only two for each depth, right? And each of them increases your dice they can use for that type of treasure by 1. And also you can discard these to lower the depth for the different treasures that you can get, right? At any time while taking actions, you can put these in your underwater stashes over here, right? And this is where these will not be lost when you actually hit the rocks when the waves come down, right? Only these will be lost then, right? But for points at the end, all of them count. So that is very important, the distinction between these fur pockets here and these underwater stashes. These can be used for more dice and for mitigating dice values, but can also be lost. And these cannot be lost, but can also not be used for these things. Just letting you know, keep that in mind while watching the rest of the video. That's one thing. Also, what I can do is I can use my rafting die. I don't have one yet. The value is 0, and I will show you later how you can increase that die. But let's see, I had a rafting die that was at a count of 3. Then I can deduct numbers here, can deduct a value here. For example, I can deduct 2, going down to 1, to deduct 2 from that depth. And the other thing I can do is discard sea treasures, right? So I can also choose to discard sea treasures currently held in my fur pocket to lower the target even more, right? But the cool thing is reducing the value of my rafting die or discarding treasures I will do after rolling, right? So first I will determine how many dice I get. In this case, I would get only 2 because I don't have any treasures yet. And I will roll those after declaring that I will go for the shadow target here, right? To get like these clams here. So let me just roll the dice. Okay, wow, that is a really good roll, right? But let's say I only would have had like a 1 or 2, 3, for example, right? Then I could like use the rafting die and discarding treasures now to reduce that value. But I made it. That means now I would actually take this treasure here, and I went for the shallow one, the clam, so I will put it in the top pocket. So now when I go for other shallow treasures, I will actually get another die because I have one in here. Had I gone to this tile, I could have also dived here. But as you can see here, I only get 1 die to roll, right? Here I get 2 if it's already like turned over. So these were 2 actions that I could do. There's another action that I can do, and that is a raft, right? If I raft, then what I do is that I flip my otter to the rafting position like this. And then I get 1 raft bonus. That means I increase my raft die by 1. I had a 0 now, so now I have 1. And also I get another rafting bonus, like 1 more to the raft die if there is another player adjacent also rafting, right? Because this like symbolizes the otters holding hands, and you know that this is actually a thing, right? So I would have gotten then even more, and that's it, right? That's it. Why would I raft? Well, now at the end of my turn, we do the refill and moving the waves. So first of all, we refill the tiles here, so there will be another tile down here, and then we move waves, right? Now we have low tide at the moment, right? That means we only move 1 wave tile. That means this wave tile, like all of them, move down 1. And then we check the bottom tile that just was discarded. Is it, if it is face down, we flip it face up and put it at the top. If it was already face up, we discard it and take a new tile face down from the stack. And this is how you replenish the stack, right? And later on, at some point, we will be done with all the tiles up here. Then we remove this one, and now you see there are 2 waves. So that means that we always like move them down 2, right? But that's not the case yet. Another thing is that now we went onto the rocks. That means when that happens, the otters move all their treasures from their fur pockets. And that's really bad because these are needed for actually scoring, right? That's our goal, unless they are rafting. That's why I turned over to the rafting side and went down there. Another thing I could have done instead of rafting is that I just said, okay, I can move up to 2. I will just move 2 up here because I know, right, this column will now be moving down. This is like kind of how you can like also play tactically, because next round I want to get there when it's my turn. Why? Because at the end of the game you score points for all the treasures for shallow and deep you have the most of, right? So if I have like 8 treasures for the shallow one and I have like 5 of these mussels, and that's the most I have, then I count all together all the points for the mussels, right? 2 there, 2 there. Some of them might only be 1, but all the other treasures don't count, right? and then I multiply that by the value of my rafting die. So the rafting die is important for dice mitigation, but it also is important as a multiplier for your points, right? And you see here, 0 to 1 is times 2, 2 to 4 is times 3, and 5 to 6 is times 4. So you have a little bit of leeway there. And do the same for the deep treasures here, right? So you see like which one do you have the most of, and that one you count together all the points and multiply that by the rafting value, right? Another thing I did not explain perfectly, so I will do now. I said you can reduce the die number here to reduce the depth, right? That you have to like roll, so to speak, but you can also discard treasures. When you discard one shadow treasure, you can deduct that number by 2. And when you discard a deep treasure, you can deduct it by 5. So actually, you don't have to deduct too many treasures. So it might also be an idea if you go for muscles. Okay, that's fine. But also to get a few treasures, like a few different treasures if there are no muscles, because then you can use those to actually reduce the values here, right? Which is very important for the deep treasures, right? So this was my turn. This was now Scholar's turn. Now it's Shelly's turn. Shelly would do the same thing. Shelly would see, oh, he's going for muscles. I would like those as well. So first turn, like when you're on the rocks, you can actually go anywhere, right? So I will just go there. That's my movement. And then I will do the dive again. I get 2 dice. I can do nothing here. I only get 2 dice. I need to get an 8. All right. Ah, that's only a 6. Didn't work. And that means now that this will just stay there. Nothing happens, right? So let's do another dive action. Come on. 11. That's enough. That's enough to get that muscle. So we get that muscle here. And put it right there for the shadow treasures, because that's the one I went for. Also, at the beginning of the turn, I should have rolled the wave die. All right, and same thing. Now we just replenish that here because we're done with our 3 actions. And then the wave die. And now you see one thing of the game that happens is we go down here, right? Like this. And this one will be turned over and put at the top. But this guy here, Scholar, is now being pushed down the waves, right? So if it's Otto's turn, let's say Otto rolls a 4, for example. That means at the end of Otto's turn, when he's done, this will move down further. That means Scholar did not move into rafting position at the end of his turn. That means he will lose all of his treasures. And now suddenly, that changes a lot, right? So that means you always need to kind of see, okay, if I'm here, it is possible that the other players can move it down up to twice, right? Because there are 2 players after Scholar. But if he's here, then he's safe, right? Because he can move down twice at most. Later on, when it's like double the waves, it doesn't matter where you are. It's possible that you will always lose your treasure. So that means you should always go to rafting position, right? Or you can also push your luck and say, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to maximize my turn and go for another dive and just hope that this is not going down twice, right? But that's like very, very high risk. And as I said, you play until this is all depleted here, this stack, and then you count up your points. You also get points for the treasures you don't have the most of at the end of the game. They just don't get multiplied, right? So you get points for everything pretty much. And that is already how you play Tide Tangle. But how do I like it? Well, let me tell you. About component quality, I can't really say anything because this is a print and play game. You will have to print this out yourself when you purchase it. But I can say something about the components in terms of layout and design, and I really like it. Especially these little folded otters are so adorable. Look at them, I love them. And you can see that you can print this real nicely, and it just looks just like the retail game. It has a really nice table presence. Also, I really like the art of the game. And did I just say that I really like how adorable these origami otters are? By the way, if you're interested, they actually look like this here. You see, you have just a sheet of paper here, right? With the otter, and then there are folding instructions included that tell you how you can get it into this shape. I just didn't do a great job of folding it, right? But these are really adorable. This is really well done. The theme of the game is great as well. You're playing those otters, diving for treasures and collecting what they find. Not only is the theme cute, but it also blends quite well into gameplay with the different otter positions and the extra benefits you receive when holding hands, meaning being adjacent to another otter. Also, the otters are putting stuff in their pockets. This is well done and a nice touch. I also like the setup is quick and the rules are easy to understand and equally easy to teach. I did not have any issues with the rulebook at all. Everything was explained well. It also seems like the playtime indicated for this game is quite accurate. But of course, this always depends on the players actually playing the game. The gameplay is fun. Choosing where and how deep to dive may seem luck-based at first, and while it is, there are quite a few ways to mitigate the dice rolls as well as add to your dice. It's always a bad feeling when you're at the mercy of your dice, and it's great that this game solves that issue. The wave movement is a great touch as well. It eases you into the game with the low tide first, before the high tide makes the game a bit more challenging. This mechanism puts a bit more strategy into the tactical gameplay and lets you slightly plan ahead. Depending on which columns actually move, you may be able to push your luck and stay in a swing position to maximize your actions, although it may be quite risky. There's just one thing I need to mention. The game is designed for 2 to 4 players. But I personally would not recommend it for 2 players as much. If you play it at a 2-player account, everyone needs to control 2 otters each, mimicking a 4-player game. While the rules are simple enough, this just puts too much overhead on the otherwise simple game, and is not as fun as just playing 1 otter in my opinion. I wish there was a dedicated 2-player variant for this game, but I understand why this is difficult with the wave movement. You can't just make this all smaller and then the wave movement wouldn't work anymore, so I get this. But I'd still only recommend the game for 3 to 4 players the most. But you can play it in a 2-player account for sure, of course. It's not impossible. It's just not as fun and intuitive as for 3 or 4 players in my opinion. All in all, I enjoyed my time with the game. This truly is a printed play game that, when printed and assembled nicely, is really close to a full retail game. I love how much care went into this. It's a very charming game with a nice variety of mechanisms, and while relying a bit on luck, still feels quite tactical. And also, did I mention how adorable these otters are? If you enjoy games with cute themes and light rules, Tide Tangle might be just for you. You'll find the link to the Kickstarter project in the video description as usual, so you can check it out yourself. The campaign is starting today. Well, that marks the end of my Kickstarter preview for Tide Tangle. Thank you for watching and sticking to the very end. A huge thanks to all of you and a special shout out to my generous patrons. The biggest thanks go out to Thecos for supporting me at the highest tier. You can also support me by watching, liking and commenting on my videos, subscribing to my channel, supporting me on Patreon, and joining my Discord server to hang out with me and my really amazing community. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the channel or on my Discord server. Take care everyone, stay safe and cheers.